are these people?
So, Collin, what can you do for Palestine? I very much like my thumbnail here. The Palestinian Uncle Sam. Very funny to me. But this is from the EI, the Electronic Intifada, who has Asim Al-Nabi. Please let me get these names right, man. I sorry, my English tongue is difficult. But they write, "Don't ask me what you can do for us in Gaza." So during a recent conversation with a friend outside Gaza, he asked me a sincere question. Born from his desire to help Gaza and its people, what can we do for Gaza? How many times have we asked this, Care Bear? Quite a bit. This question, what can we do, has been asked since the beginning of the occupation of Palestine, recurring through the decades, and has become even more pressing since Israel imposed a severe blockade on Gaza nearly 18 years ago. And as genocide unfolds in Gaza today, the world confronts this question with new and existential urgency. I almost gave the pat answer we always offer, that Palestine is the cause of every free person in the world and that everyone must do something. Prayer is the least of it. People should continue talking about Palestine, spreading awareness, offering financial and media support, and so on. And while that answer remains valid, the truth is that my friend's question was directed to the wrong person. Should those enduring genocide be the ones to tell those outside how to act? Can we take an hour or two off from being exterminated so we can brainstorm ideas to help our friends outside Gaza figure out what to do to stop the killing? Starvation and destruction we are subjected to every minute. Many individuals are making tremendous efforts for Gaza in many sectors, but when we look at the cumulative effort and its impact on halting the genocide and starvation, it is clear that it was insufficient to stop Israel in the early weeks. More than 600 days later, we continue to witness mass killing. Even the United Nations has failed to issue a binding resolution forcing Israel to halt the genocide, despite Israel killing more than 55,000 people in Gaza since October 2023. It's all there for the world to see, unfiltered, the bombings, the bodies, the starvation, the displacement. Activists and journalists risk their lives to document every horror. Our friends and supporters outside Gaza don't need intermediaries anymore. What's happening here is painfully obvious. You can see it in full detail on TV, in newspapers, and on the feeds of activists who broadcast everything live on their social media. Access to knowledge is no longer an obstacle, and it is the first step towards understanding and taking real action on the ground. Looking back at the importance of mass protests and stopping wars like the Vietnam War and apartheid in South Africa, we must ask ourselves, is the current level of global mobilization enough to stop the genocide in Gaza, which we talked about earlier in our show? Campus movements in the US were instrumental in building opposition to the Vietnam War and ending apartheid in South Africa, and once again are playing a key role in disrupting business as usual during the genocide in Gaza. By contrast, there has been virtually no movement at universities in the Arab world to effectively pressure their politicians to change their complicity in the annihilation of Gaza. Have people of conscience around the world risen in a way that matches the scale of Gaza's genocide? Methinks not. There is a movement making its way from North Africa to Gaza right now. Why aren't more mass mobilizations marching towards the borders of Gaza, demanding entry to deliver aid that all international laws and conventions have already approved? You must stop asking, what can we do for Gaza? A question that implies that all possible actions have been exhausted and thus implicitly justifies inaction. Instead, people must keep building on what has already been done, pulling on all levers so that these combined efforts can help bring an end to the genocide taking place in Gaza. You need to act individually, collectively, creatively. You must find new strategies and new pressure points. The goal is clear: stop the genocide. This is a message from the heart of wounded and grieving Gaza. I write these words hungry while the bombing around me does not stop. I call on every free person in the world to move now. Get up with your colleagues and friends and start doing something, anything on the ground. Do not ask me what you can do for Gaza. That's the question you must answer urgently. You already know enough. What's left is to act. Time is made of blood. Do something. Now. Thoughts before I finish this up with Mr. Husseini?
I get why people are asking, because I think people just want to make sure that they're doing something that Palestinians would
Want them
feel
to do? Yeah.
to do.
Right.
But I think really at this point, it's like desperate times call for desperate measures. Like, and now I say, if you want to help, be careful, because
Oh, for sure.
there definitely are people or organizations who are trying to exploit this assault for their gain. So I think definitely be careful of how you proceed. But I think even now, I think that's why. And as much as I get frustrated every week with stories, because they've just come in kind of shit as of late, I think you and India especially have been very consistent in wanting to talk about Palestine, even though, not to say I don't want to talk about it, it's easy to get fatigue. But
Yeah.
I think the one way that I think especially in the independent media is doing, or trying to do, at least for us, is keep talking about it, because from the fatigue, people will not talk about it anymore,
Yeah.
which is, I think, in a lot of ways, you've said this, what Israel wants to happen. They
Right.
don't want people to talk about
Well,
it.
I think
They
about it
want
like
people.
I think about it like this. Like if you think about information warfare, similar to regular warfare, battle fatigue is a thing, right? It's what
Mhm.
entire armies strategize around their like systems. Systems are built up of support and pulling people out and getting them R&R and getting, all this stuff is part of that process. And you have to think about it with the information warfare too, right? Where it's like that battle fatigue is a thing. You're going to have to either be resilient or figure out ways of dealing with it, you know? And
Mhm.
that's difficult for a lot of us, especially those with
Right.
empathy, which, difficult. But
Right.
yeah. So, but here is Sam Husseini, who writes a very little short piece called Lifting the Veil, um, which, as U.S. client Arab countries and governments stand idly by, or worse yet, enable Imperial Israel or protect it from retaliation from Iran, they stand exposed for all to see. I wonder what this looks like to pious Muslim women across the Arab world, as these regimes have failed to do anything to stop Imperial Israel's slaughter for 20 months, as Egypt works to stop those trying to bring food to those starving in Gaza through the Sinai. So Husseini says, after my dad died in 2017, I found in his notebook a story of an innocent man being executed. Many people gathered at the square to view the killing. Everyone knows the man is innocent, but no one does anything. They just let the execution happen. Then a beautiful young woman appears. Her head is uncovered. Everyone is aghast. How can you be in the square with all these men without a veil? They ask. She responds, there is no men here, indicting their collective cowardice. So, yeah, I mean, I think one of the factors with this that a lot of people don't like why we're asking is because we don't know. We have no idea
Right.
what to actually actively do against the empire, because clearly they have more economic, military, I mean, you name it, they've got it and are willing to use it. So, they infiltrate movements, they put plenty of roadblocks in the way. So, I personally have no idea what to actually do to deal with this problem, you know? So I don't think it's for us to do right now, really. To some degree, yes, as far as keeping this, like, keeping the fire on here and making sure that we know what's happening, that's a must for everything. But I do think that it's going to require the non-aligned axis to actually get off their ass and do some shit, as well as us.
Right.
We should not be fucking,
Mm-hmm.
lazy about it either. But I don't know what we can do, you know, you know. But
Well, I think it's worth. I think at minimum, I, I still feel it's okay to ask.
yeah,
Um, but when you get the answer, do it. Like, don't kind of sit on it, and then like at some point someone tells you something, or you're reminded, and it's like, and you ask again. Like, so
yeah,
just do the thing that people tell you to do if they're talking about it in good faith, and do your best to do it. I think that's it.
agreed.
I think sometimes we just think, oh, we have to go above and beyond what we should do, or what in our minds we should do. And it's like, no, just do what you can as best you can if you have the time to do it. I think that's really what anyone can ask of anybody at any given point in time in order
Yeah,
to help. Like, you shouldn't have to go well above your means. You can if you want, but at minimum, just do what you can with the time that you have, if you have the time. That's
right.
it.
Agreed. Well, talking about this kind of stuff is why YouTube demonetizes us. So go to ko-fi.com/indienewsnetwork, scan that QR code on your screen, and you can give a few dollary dues if you so wish. But if you can't do that, just like and subscribe, share these videos, share these streams. It's the only way people see them. And otherwise, leave a comment. Let us know what you think is possible. What can we do? Feel free to brainstorm down in that comment section. We'll happily take suggestions. But otherwise, thanks for watching.